My name's Mick. We're sitting here with Mr. Jason Lowe. If
Hello, Mick.
that's your real name.
It is.
Okay.
At this moment.
Okay. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm feeling a lot more calm now after throwing myself in the deep end to the most wonderful experience, but definitely one that took me by surprise in terms of the level of intensity of performance required.
With the whole audience watching.
With the whole audience
move.
of 3,
Yeah.
which was
Don't tell the people
riveting.
that. It's infinite, the audience.
That's right. Yes, we had cardboard cutouts
Absolutely.
made, which took like several weeks.
Well, that was one of your requests.
It was,
I believe.
Yeah. Some people asked for green M&Ms. I asked for a crowd of Scarlett Johansson cutouts.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway.
It looked legit.
Cool. So that did go well for you then, in your opinion?
Yeah, I was happy with the, it's one's always a bit hard on themselves, and it's the nature of a lot of us artists.
Yes.
And, but no, I feel thrilled, and I was very loved and supported and held by all of you, so that made all the difference.
Oh, we've loved having you here. Tell us a bit about yourself, a bit about your music.
Yeah, well, it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
I started out all the way back in 2007.
I see.
So, I'm 56.
Yeah, cool. I'm 13. So
it was before you were born.
Yeah.
I took to the stage. No, I grew up in Newcastle, coastal suburbs of Newcastle.
Yeah.
Small little sleepy surf towns. And I was a painter actually from, class 1 all the way up to high school. That was my first creative love. Mm-hmm. Music came late. I didn't start playing bass in a high school pop punk band until I was about 16, 17.
Okay.
And then I ended up, to cut a long story short, intuitively was drawn to the lap slide guitar when I was 17 in year 11 of high school. And I ventured into learning this instrument, and I didn't even play guitar yet.
Interesting.
I had a little money from selling paintings and working at McDonald's, and I brought this alien-looking instrument. I was inspired by the likes of Xavier Rudd and Ben Harper, and because there was this whole roots music movement at the time, Jack Johnson, John Butler, Xavier, we were all greatly inspired by that musical genre. And so I taught myself to play the slide guitar and started to write my first few songs, and gradually picked up guitar. And as soon as I left high school, I started performing, and I stopped painting entirely for 8.5 years, and I started gigging professionally.
Yeah, right.
Ventured over to America,
Really? Yeah, okay.
So a lot of adventures.
Yeah. Over, let's do the maths quickly. Carry the one, so 40 years.
That's right, yes. Yeah, 40 years ago.
Cool. Where does one learn to play the slide guitar? Did you just do that intuitively, ear? Yeah?
Entirely intuitively, yeah. There's no one around really to help, and especially back then.
Yeah, right.
This was when that instrument had kind of gained a lot of popularity again. Yeah. It was invented, this particular kind of slide that I play. It's based, mine's an amalgamation of various kinds of lap slides.
Yeah, I have seen, what's the, lapsteel?
Yes, lapsteel.
Is that the rectangular one?
Yes,
they
were the originals.
Yeah, okay.
But even predating them were these guitars called Weizenborns, which were fully acoustic, all through the neck and all. Yeah. Made in the 1920s by a German man by the name of Hermann Weizenborn. And they never took off, you know.
Right.
But then people like Ben Harper and Bob Brosman and others started finding them in op shops in the 90s and collecting them. Yeah. And then popularized that instrument again. And then, luthiers around the world started copying them, and so then we saw this huge resurgence in that instrument, and that's when I caught on the tail end of that.
Interesting.
So there's no one to teach you, but
I
was fortunate that, just like with art, I was always compelled by intuition and managed to just, through perseverance and passion and practice and patience, picked it up and
practice, patience,
and went on my way. That's the 4 Ps, by the way. That's what I always recommend to any young, up and coming musician. They ask for any kind of advice. I always say, practice, patience, passion, and persistence.
Persistence. Interesting.
I think there was some version of the 4 Ps in high school which had to do with biology or something, and I just stole that and
I get that
turned it into a code of operation. for musicians.
Yeah, or P's get degrees. I've heard that one.
I like that.
Yeah, you just need a pass. That's
P's
all that
get
matters.
degrees.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
It'll make me sound even more legit now.
Absolutely. So. The degree of music, maybe.
Yes, I'll just give myself a degree.
Yeah.
I have a doctorate in the P's.
Most people,
of music.
What are you a doctorate in? P's?
P's, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, there's all kinds of P's. There's, several. There's green peas.
And that's it. That's all.
And that's pretty much it.
All.
There are no other kinds of peas, are there? It was just green peas.
Yeah.
Are there other peas? Oh, chickpeas.
Chickpeas.
Of course, but they're a legume. So technically they're not a pea.
Yeah. They're also, what would you say, beige?
Oh,
beige? Yellow?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you wouldn't call them a yellow pea.
No, you wouldn't.
No. That's when you're sick. If your pea is yellow.
I thought, well, isn't pea always yellow?
I don't know.
So we're always constantly sick. That's a terrible time we live in.
Anyway, cutting back. What have you done lately in your music? Where have you been?
I released a single a little while ago.
4 a.m. song?
It's called 4 a.m. song.
Yeah.
And the name was coined from the experience, really, where first time it's ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. I woke up in the night. Mm-hmm. I think it was in February 2023. And there was a song fully formed in my head, music, melody.
Yeah, right.
And so I just stumbled out of bed, grabbed my recording device, laid down some chords to the melody I heard in my head.
Wow.
Scrolled some random lyrics, just stream of consciousness, one of those flow state kind of
amazing
songwriting moments, which are rare, as I'm sure you know. And then went back to bed, and in the morning I woke up and I was just curious to see what I'd written.
Yeah,
and
right.
It was perfect the way it was. I didn't change a thing.
Crazy.
And then, however long later, I recorded it myself and had some friends in Canada do incredible string arrangements and play the strings on the song, violins and violas, and did a little modest release. But I'm getting ready to release another single quite soon.
Cool.
In conjunction with these videos coming out in February. So
well, you better be watching them when they do come out.
Yes.
I know, I think it's Haydn used to do it. He'd fall asleep with a candle in his hand, and when the flame got down to his hand, he'd wake up.
Wow.
And because a lot of his ideas as well would be, and it's sort of, I feel like when you're in that lucid dreaming, just as you fall asleep, everything happens. Yeah. But strange that happened to you at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And earlier.
Yeah, and it was a temporary title which then grew on me. And But there's a great book called Songwriters on Songwriting. That's a big, thick volume.
Nice.
And it's literally interviews with every great songwriter you can imagine, all about the process.
Yeah.
And so many of them talk about the time when you're just starting to drift off to sleep.
Yeah.
Or when you wake up in the night or first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And so they say always have a notepad by the bed. And I've always done that.
Would you say that's right? Why creative people are insane because they're not sleeping properly?
Yeah, we tend to be night owls. Yeah. And, I don't know. It's a really curious thing. It's like I love the way Joni Mitchell put it. It's like you're in touch with the miraculous.
It's true.
Which is, it's kind of real magic, right? It's like music is this universal language of the soul. It transcends all language and borders and race, Yeah. And it just has this profound power to move, and we're tapping into this mysterious realm where ideas come and things move through you. And these kinds of songs, like the 4 a.m. song, particularly give you that impression of this real kind of tangible force, like of kind of mysterious, miraculous power, which is a phenomenal thing. And maybe that's what kind of makes us slightly unhinged or odd, because superior. Yeah.
Well, it is, and you're in the constant chase of that, I suppose. And I think there's a lot of daunting feelings, I suppose, that as a songwriter that maybe perhaps you'd never achieve that again, or sorry, bring a big downer on that.
No, I love it. It's really
true.
common.
Yeah.
For me, it's like you can't control it and you can't command it.
Which is
it comes to you.
Yeah.
All you can do is show up.
Yeah.
Like in Neil Young's words, he says, just show up.
Yeah.
And Bob Dylan talks about keeping a well-oiled machine. So you make sure
you're ready to go when it does happen.
And you wait.
Yeah.
And Neil would say, you sit down, you pick up your instrument, kind of feel into the energy, like the atmosphere. If nothing comes, put down the guitar, go do something else, come back. Don't force it, And that I very much feel like a kindred with that approach.
Are you someone that would try and write every day, or do you wait for that moment to come? What does it sort of look like?
I'm the waiting type. I've definitely tried the approach of treating it like a job and setting up like an office space and getting there and trying to put in 4 hours a day. And I failed miserably at that. Certain heroes of mine, that was their method, like Randy Newman, Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
But
this is work time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely relate more to the Neil Young kind of method of just seeing, showing up.
Yeah. Prepared.
Trying to feel into whether there's anything there, and if there's not, you go and do other things. And you come back.
Are there often large gaps between that?
Yes, and considerably larger gaps as I've gotten older. Which is a little depressing.
Yeah.
But things have slowed down a little. But I'm not very prolific. In 17 years that I've been writing and recording music, I only have 3 albums and an EP and a couple of singles.
Would you say I have sort of a similar approach in that I wait? I feel that I have not necessarily mastered, but I've sort of explored everything on an instrument that I've wanted to, and there's not really somewhere new I want to go. So, for example, the band Beach House,
I love them.
Each of their album is based off sort of a random synth that they've found, like in wherever, and then they'll base the entire album off that synth because that new instrument is exciting and because it's something that they haven't quite mastered yet. Would you say that's perhaps related to, I don't want to say writer's block because it's not, you can write and write, but the feeling is different. You can write something where there's no feeling.
And that immediately makes me feel like, I need to get back to the studio and try some new things because
this interview's over.
Because I would definitely benefit from that. I think I'm a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but I have these instruments that I play, and like you, I've explored them quite intensely. And I've reached a point where I feel like I've carved out my own kind of approach and my own style.
Yeah.
But I'm not pushing it to try and expand my horizons.
To the next thing,
And musicians I know that do that are more prolific, and they come up with more interesting, widely varied ideas and styles. But I try not to fall into the trap of comparison, and I try to just, relate to the flow of my life in what feels like the most natural way. And so I know that for me, my best writing comes from life experience and kind of depths of emotion that you can only experience and insights that you can only experience over a long period of time and through a lot of self-work and self-analysis and, delving the depths of experience. So I'm happy to wait for those,
as long as you're happy,
those songs that are they're fewer and far between, but they have a greater depth,
Absolutely.
But in saying that, it would be really fun to have all kinds of synths and other instruments, and I would fill if I had a house, I would fill a house with all kinds of exotic instruments if I had access to them, and I know that I would create a lot more music, a lot more ideas if I had these things at my command. But
absolutely.
So I think there's something to that, and that's really inspired me and actually motivated me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go and track down an interesting synth.
Yeah.
And make a whole album around that synth. One that goes like...
You could call yourself Beach Low or something.
Beach Low. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Beach Low. And I'll have a Hawaiian shirt on.
Yeah.
And Ray-Ban sunglasses and pink hair slicked back.
And smoke a pipe.
And have a long green goatee.
Yeah.
I think that'll be my look.
Cool. Well...
And it'll be a synth album. Just synth and glockenspiel.
But like 80 of them.
80 of them, played by like different people from all around the world.
Yeah.
And really out of tune. and it'll be like a study in dissonance.
Yeah.
And challenge the listener to
the brown note, but the silver note maybe. Yeah.
The silver note, yeah. The brown note would be an excellent achievement, but the silver note sounds more prestigious and elegant.
Maybe platinum could be better.
Platinum note. Maybe that's the first track. Maybe that's the single, Platinum Note by Beach Low.
Anyway.
I love the abstract humor and the tangents. I could do this all day.
I'm not sure we're meant to be talking about this.
This is the lightest and humorous interview I've ever done, which is great.
It's what the people want, I think. They just want honesty from us.
That's right. My friends are always telling me to show my silly side more often. So thank you for bringing it out of me.
No problems at all. We need to wrap this up.
This is Beach Low and Beach Low coming live from the Barrowville Theatre, and it's been a pleasure. Look out for my new album, Platinum Note.
Forever chasing.
Yes.
Not perfection. What's the feeling again? What did Joni Mitchell say?
Oh, the being in touch with the miraculous.
Forever chasing the miraculous.
Yes. Beautiful. I like that.